Good morning. Good morning. There's Josh. All right, Josh, how you doing? You're also on the phone. Very good. Right. Who else is here? Anyway, good to see you this morning. I think we're going to be making some music. That's what we're going to be doing. I think we're going to get straight into Ableton and kind of make some music. Maybe a few time splurges. Actually, Josh, you're new. I think you're fairly new on here, so you probably don't know what a splurge is. Do you know what a splurge is? It's the term I use for just making a load of music without any judgment, just throwing it out there. All right, I wonder who else we've got here. Oh well, I'll hang on a bit, have a coffee, and then we can make a start. I'll just wait for a few people to get here. So, Josh, can you tell me sort of a little bit about yourself while it's just us two here? Do you play guitar? Do you produce music? Do you use Ableton Live? Do you use a Mac? Do you use a PC? Not that that matters. But I'm interested to know if you like produce music, and what music do you produce? But you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. That's also fine. um. Get myself sorted. And then basically, so yesterday I was just upgrading the setup. So there's been a few things that have been going on in the studio and or space, as I might want to call it. Just over to this side, opposite the computer. So I'm building another screen instead of like coming to here. This side shot where fundamentally when I'm working on the computer, I'm just in front of the computer and you're looking at the side of me. So that's been something I wanted to sort out for a while, but it's been quite tricky really because we kind of like it's like setting up two studios, so actually getting the lighting right so there's no conflict is like it's been really tricky to work it out, to be fair, because I need to be lit all around but I want to retain the nice background colours without losing them. So the first thing I did is I've built I didn't build it, I've got like a green wall. So I don't, Josh, are you on the Discord? Because I've got like a Discord as well. If you find Hutch on Discord, I'm there. And so is everybody else. But yes, I put a few pictures up. So I've got this wonderful green wall that'll be behind me, with a little bit of lighting running down the bottom of it. So the camera will be looking that way, and we'll have a shot similar to this. Well, it'll look like this basically, but there'll be a green wall behind me. But what I've had to do is I've had to get another light behind me here, so that's going to light my face. But when I turn this way, it's actually backlighting me, which is quite handy. But I think the thing is though, is I've just got to work out, is that light necessary? I mean, it's quite nice on my hair there. But is it, you know, is that light, is it necessary when I'm facing this way? Is the question. I could switch it off and then we get that. Yeah, so all good. We've got a few more people coming on. Wonder who else is here. It's all very exciting. Tell you what I could do. I could just quickly adjust my polychrome. I'll stick it there. It's a little bit too far down for me, so just get the sign up a little bit. Right. Right, let's have a look. Right. All right, let's build some drums. So I think this has got the bit. I mean, I've used every drum wave you could imagine to actually program drums, and this has got to be the best, I think, for just getting stuff done. Which is what it's all about at the end of the day, isn't it? All right. Hi, Kevin. Exhausted. No worries. Oh, you've arrived. Hello there. All right. Audio to eyeballs. Hello, how you doing? I don't seem to have any MIDI today. One second. Talk amongst yourselves. It's always something. A mystery. All right. No, I just haven't got any MIDI off my controllers and stuff for whatever reason. I don't know why. Let's try unplugging. It doesn't matter. Because I can just like everything's not. However, yeah, I mean, I had everything in bits yesterday. Right, not to worry, because that's not going to stop me. Right, got my drums. What am I working on? Right, well, I just started, whilst I was waiting for everybody, I just thought I'd start like kind of just making some, like a new drum kit. So I've got this like chill wave kit, which I'm just sort of programming in. So I suppose I'm probably going to do something quite chill, don't I? Will be the plan. A bit of a dancey edge to it by the looks of it. So I was just saying that there's going to be a new camera angle. When I'm doing this kind of work on the computer, you'll be looking directly at me very soon. So I'm just going to order the camera today, get that set up. So I've got the background all done. I've got the lighting worked out. I was doing some testing yesterday, and it's all looking really good. In fact, when I'm looking at the little viewfinder here, I mean, the colours and everything are looking great, aren't they? But it's hard. It's hard work. Just getting when you're streaming. Honestly, the amount of time I spend just getting the lighting right is ridiculous. Um, I mean, I constantly. I mean, the only other thing that I arse on with as much as this is my guitar playing at the minute. But yeah, it's just crazy. Right, we'll pick a key. No, I'm going. I've got it. So I'll get like an identical camera to the one that I'm using. So I'm gonna get. It's the E10. It's the Sony E10 with the Sigma zoom lens. So that's what'll be going on. So I've got that nice sort of like nice sort of corporate looking depth of field that you have. All right. What did I pick? B minor. I'll tell you what. Before I start programming this in. Oh yeah. Yeah. No. I mean. Sell a kidney. No. There's there is a way. There is you could there's join one of my coaching groups, make tons of music, and then get a passive income that way. That's one way to do it. In fact, I've got I mean, it's been great for me. It took me. I had to catch COVID to actually set this channel up. I mean, this whole thing was set up because I got COVID and I couldn't do anything else. But I wasn't actually symptomatic. I wasn't like I didn't have any of the symptoms. I was just perfectly fine. Yeah. So yeah, basically it was what happened is when COVID hit, so like as well as doing this, okay, I'm what you call like a therapeutic musician. It's a bit like a music therapist, but I work very much directly on towards with patients who have just been sort of admitted. But and it's all mental health, autism, learning difficulties, all that kind of stuff that I do. And it's a brilliant. It's like an excellent job to have because it's super creative. And I'm the boss of what I do, so I can kind of model it to whatever way that I want. But yeah, when the pandemic hit, I was still left doing that job. I had to tip up every day and do it. But eventually, it took about 17 months, and then eventually I got COVID, and then I was stuck in here, and I couldn't do my usual stuff, and I was bored, and I thought I was really procrastinating on the whole kind of streaming thing. I mean, I was doing a bit with Thomas. We were doing our thing as McRocklin Hutch with this crazy green screen and remotely doing it, and that was all fine. But then I just realised that actually, I wanted to set a coaching business up, and setting a coaching business up, it's really difficult because how do you get the people in, right? So there's obviously emailing lists, doing like an advert video and hoping for the best, and then building an email list and engaging with that every single day, which I didn't fancy doing because it meant writing a lot, and I like to be doing. So the other thing is I wanted a way that A, I could promote the business, B, do my own music making, and then everybody could see how I make music. And C, it's just a platform to do whatever I want on. So like sometimes, I can do performances, I can do all this stuff. So like YouTube is, it's become like the center of everything that I do. And it's really interesting because I've released so much music, like ridiculous. Like, I mean, there's the whole dance career. I lost count on 122. I don't know why it's 122, but it's 122. Charted 7 times. There's all the McRocklin Hutch stuff. I know 20, 30 tracks there that I did. There's Dreamstream. So Dreamstream is all of the stuff basically that wasn't either released, that was just about finished, or splurges that were nearly fully like realized songs. And that's only half the amounts up there. I think there's like something like 250 plus tracks. And this is all, I mean, that stuff's all done in the sort of space of like 2 years. So there's a ridiculous amount of music that I make. So there's the Dreamstream, which is the royalty free streaming thing that we do. All right, you worked as a chef. Wow, at a home for people who have dementia. Worked the whole pandemic, yeah. So it was like me, it would have been tricky. You know, you've got your mask on, you've got all your PPE to wear, you know, goggles. Like it was hard. Really hard actually. But it felt like you were at war with an invisible enemy at times. But yeah, so like I said, and then I just decided I got a camera off Thomas, because Thomas was like, "Oh, you should do some streaming or something." And initially, I kind of just went round. In fact, actually, before I started doing that, I did make a few attempts at streaming just for people to have a look at me making some music with a webcam. And I think that's if you look at my channel very early on, you can see like the beginnings of how I started. And it was just me in a red room. You could hardly see me. With zero personality doing stuff. I'm still working on the personality now. Oh, it doesn't say what key it was. Yeah, I should have. Yeah, I don't know. I think there might have been something on Spotify where we couldn't put backing track. It had to be instrumental. It had to look like a track. There was a reason why that was. I can't remember what it was though. Anyway, but it's good ear training, isn't it? To work out what key it is. If you don't know what key it's in, you might find an even better key. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I'll tell you what, like I'll do a lot of the time. So, like when you work a key out, let's say you're in F minor, right? You might just limit yourself. You might just think, well, I'm only going to play F minor. Right, which like okay, so you're going to play an F minor natural scale over it, great. But when it comes to pentatonics, there are lots of different pentatonic substitutions you can use. So if I'm in F minor, you can do your F minor pentatonic. But if you want to have that cool neo soul sound, what you can do is instead of you using your F minor, what you can do is you can also use like C minor. So if you use the pentatonic a fifth up, and what that does is it gives you the ninth note. Okay, and then you'll do that. But I think like sometimes when I think of the key, immediately, boom, limitations come in. So sometimes just working it out and playing and using your ears, in fact, it's always a better way. Hi, smart Alec. So yeah, I mean, there was some terrible streaming with just a webcam that I wasted a load of money on, £80, and that looked just terrible. And then basically I had a couple of hue lights. And I had a little bit of a better camera, which only the f-stop would only go down to like it only had f4.2, so you had to have all the lights on really, really bright for it to look half decent. But I just went around the room and looking through it to find an angle on a tripod, and then eventually, pretty much this kind of was the angle that I came up with, and it's actually been unbeatable. I can't get another angle going, to be fair. And then really it was just upgrading the lights. So I had like just a smaller, I was always using the 3-point lighting. So I had a panel light there, just a cheap one. I had this one that's in a diffuser. And then I had like another light, which I'm not using at the minute, over here for the hair light, very important. And that was it. That was okay. And then upgraded the camera so I could get the more depth of field. So now, you know, you can get this sort of thing going, which is great. And then I got a bigger light, so getting Thomas's cast-offs was handy. So I got his big parabolic, I think that's what you call them, light, which is like a huge 40, 60-inch thing. It's massive. So I've got that, and that gives me the nice sort of wraparound light on my face. And it's just upgrading like that, really. Tom, I think, well, I'm not streaming. I think Thomas is streaming. I think something else is happening on Saturday, but I'm not going to be there. But I'm sure he'll announce whatever's happening. But there's something happening, but it's not. I'm not doing it. Maybe I'll do something after. No, it doesn't heat up at all. All the lights are really cool, so they're just all LED, aren't they? I mean, that's a big bulb, this one, but it doesn't heat up. It has a really quiet fan on it. And that's it, really. You know, so it's just trying to get it to look interesting, really. But the whole thing is because like I've released so much music, it's like you kind of start doing the same thing, and like the McRocklin Hutch thing works, and it's at a point where I can do like other things around that. You know, and I always come back to the coaching thing, right? So the main thing about coaching somebody, what are you coaching them to do, right? Okay. And a lot of the time I'm coaching people to help them find out what they want to do in the world, how they will connect with the world with something. All right. And like I had to coach myself, really. I had to think about, well, how am I going to connect with the world? Because like I've done lots of releasing of stuff, and you know, I can do the odd track with Thomas and all that kind of stuff, and that's great, and it'll perform in a certain way. But what about me as a constant thing? You know, what am I doing? So, because I've done such a lot of the dance stuff, I just wanted something new, different, and challenging. And you know, the challenge. How do you get the challenge? And the most challenging thing to me was to actually do this, because it requires all of your skills. That's the thing. So, when you sat here in front of a camera, literally anything can happen. You're going to see everything that I do. You're going to see my strengths, and you're going to see my weaknesses, and also I'm going to be acutely aware of all of them, which is a good thing, as we were talking about yesterday. So, you know, today I'm, you know, being fairly leisurely at the minute, getting some drums together on EXO. Nice thing to do, isn't it? Whilst, you know, people come onto the stream. But you're going to see like how I put tracks together, how I do. You're going to watch my template develop over time. You're going to watch different sort of trends that I go through, different like phases. You're going to see how music is processed from the very start. You'll see bits of providing it's all zero latency, but you'll see a good chunk of me, how I mix a track. So you get all that good stuff. You'll find out about what I'm practicing, why I'm practicing, how I'm practicing on guitar. You'll be able to watch me perform and play and improvise, both over pre-recorded music and stuff that I just make on the fly, you know. And to me, you know, all of that is very exciting, because I can just, I mean, that's why I don't plan these lives either. It can be anything could happen. And sometimes, you know, we can have a conversation like this and suddenly it triggers a lot of other stuff, which I think is valuable for people to hear. And, you know, we're talking about having that fire when we're playing guitar, and how do you find that fire? And a lot of it's to do with, you know, the skill to challenge ratio. So by doing this, it challenges me. The other thing about doing something like this, right, is again, I'm always going to go back to the coaching thing, because that's the thing that I'm really pushing at the minute. Like, one of the first things I'll help people with is to build a habit, Okay, so you need to build a habit. We all know about sort of James Clearview's Atomic Habits, which is an amazing book. Okay, and habits are really good. So just getting up and making this stream into a habit is brilliant, because it's what I do. I get up, I have an exact routine that I do. I get up and I walk around the room and I switch all the lights on, what have you. Okay, then I get dressed. Sorry, then I go up and I switch the kettle on. Then I brush my teeth, do my shave, come down, and get dressed, and then come on the stream. And after I get my coffee, and that's what I do every morning. Okay. Right. Yeah. So the free I'll come to the drums in a minute. So I've got those here. So the originally those drums are the drums that I used on mainly the Riding Out record, and we'll have a look at those. So they're all the curated samples that I used when I made the McRocklin Hutch stuff. So what you get is all the individual hits of each of the track, plus you get my go-to kicks on there. So that's just something I chuck together and then we'll put up on the shop for people like McRocklin. Originally it was like a McRocklin Hutch sample pack, but Thomas says he can use it for whatever he wants really. When I get round to it, I'll probably use it for some promotional thing, but it's just single shot samples. Yeah. The interesting thing about single shot samples is, it's a great starting point, but it's developing your ear to be able to select samples as what you want to be working on, isn't it? Like why, when you pick a sample, like a kick drum, like just in that sample's natural state, what bass would you go with that sample, that kick drum? Is it going to be a short bass or a long bass? I mean, that can be determined by what the kick's doing, whether it's a short kick. If you've got a short, high-pitched kick, like in drum and bass, you can start using really subby low basses. If it's a short, stabby bass, maybe we can have, like 16th note, sort of synthwave bass, and then you can use, like, maybe sidechain it and stuff. Or are you going to use the kick as a bass, and it's quite long and subby? Which means that your bass you can be higher up in the register. So there's there's considerations to be made. Yeah, I mean, just like go in there and do your thing with it. I mean, it's just like really the raw materials. Really, you've got to shape those sounds to fit your project. But I can give you some tips on that, I mean, there are certain like cuts and things I like to do on all kick drums just to get them sounding right in the mix. But yeah, so like for me, this is when you're coaching people, it's about getting them to decide on what they want to do and kind of then help them make their connection with the world, because that's the whole point, isn't it? Is you're going to do something in front of other people. And then also I kind of, without sounding like Terminator 2, although I don't think we've got much to worry about, AI is pretty good and it's all very exciting. But I think at the same time, as musicians, we need to be thinking very carefully about how we conduct our time and what we invest time into. If you are someone, right, who, yeah, it's kind of funny, but not funny. But if you're somebody, like, you get more of this in the dance world. If you're somebody who, well, actually, you get it in any genre, right? But I've experienced most in dance world with myself and watching other people, right? Like when I've been particularly lazy, what you tend to have is you have like label whoring. So you'll want to get signed to a label, right? And then what you'll do is you'll conform not only to the genre of music, but you'll also conform to the label's manifesto of kind of what they sign, and then you try and then the last 2% that's left to you, right? So anyway, what happens if you're not careful is you just start producing loads of boring music that is just conforming to whatever that genre has been specific to, and that's where the problems come in, because like AI can do that. That sounds like AI, doesn't it? And it's getting better and better and better. It can analyze. It can just do. I've heard, procedurally produced gent music, 10 hours of it, and it was all right. So, a word of warning to everybody, okay, which is also exciting. If you are one of these guys, girls, and you just, conforming to a genre. In other words, you're going on Splice and you're getting the sample magic tech house drums, all right, and then with the bass and all that kind of stuff, and you're just copying what the latest track is by your favorite artist, which is blowing up on Beatport. That's not going to cut it, because people will be able to prompt that, and eventually it'll get good. Sunu's pretty good now. You turned down a few labels in the 90s. Interesting eyeballs. So did you produce dance music in the 90s? I wouldn't care. It's like the 90s vibe's still very strong with me, and I still love listening to it, and it's still very current. It's very, very fresh. Whenever I have a quick flick on Beatport for a bit of inspiration, it's always that stuff I levitate to. M1 pianos, but anyway. So yeah, we just gotta, be a little bit cautious. Yeah, so it makes right. So there you go. It makes a pretty decent thing. It's not fully on, but now we're in competition of prompts. You see, so I mean, there's it's kind of not fair, yeah. So I mean, I could sit and I could just prompt AI to make me a backing track, and then it's going to be copyright free. If I write a decent line, I'll just release it. Off we go. You can do that. There'll be lots of people there'll be a fire hydrant of all this crap music. But if you're just making things conforming to a genre, AI's going to do it. So it's another reason that sort of got into the live stream, because what it means is, other people can see another human being doing something, and you can ask me questions and get me to play a guitar, and there's like lots of things. Yeah. Hold on. Just trying to organize my chat thing a bit here. Yeah, strangely it pisses me off bad, all the tech and the AI, and the first thing that comes from it is the art. Yeah, I mean, since the digitization of music, it's been a bit of a decline financially in terms of music. What I will say though is, providing you're making music and content and stuff like that, there are plenty of other ways as musicians we can make money. In fact, I have a coaching group all about it. So I think, like, now for me, it's much easier to make a living, I find it, than I could when I was just focused on making money just off the music. So, as I say, if you're being a craftist, design, it's going to do it for you, conforming to genres. But the one thing AI does do for us is it can it can save you time. It'll do the jobs that you don't want to do. Okay, sometimes I actually don't really use any AI apart from mastering. I do really like Lander, so I use that now. I can probably do a better master than Lander just, but for if it came to when it comes to doing a master of multiple tracks, and it'll do it, and it just saves me time, and it sounds fine. Now, because it's saving me time in an area that I'm not that interested in, all right, what it means is I can refocus that time into something else, and this has been very important to me, because literally every second counts here. The one thing that's very noticeable in AI music is the fidelity. It's not solid yet, but I'm sure that's of course it's a matter of time. But what we've got to think about is how am I getting glitchy here? No, all right. What we've got to think about is how we can use AI to do the jobs we don't want to do and free up time to do the things that we do. And quite frankly, I've used it not so much using it, but it's helped me to make decisions, because I know this thing's happening and it's building. But what it's allowed me to do is think along the lines of, right, well, if AI does absolutely blow up and it can do all the things that it's supposed to be doing, what's going to be left for us human beings to do? Right, I never knew AI. Fruity Loops had AI in it. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to unplug the camera and plug it back in 1 second. Got a sneak preview of the green wall there. Ozone, I've used Ozone. Ozone, and the other thing that they have, whenever I've messed with the AI, I've ended up having to undo the whole thing and spending actually more time doing it the way I want it than what the AI suggests or does for me. I've never found it very useful, to be fair. It's not even a starting point to me, to be fair, because then it's just making a load of mess. And it's like working with somebody else's process then that I haven't practiced. So I don't I'd rather just not have any control and upload it to Lander and get it to do it, or do it myself. There's not much of a midpoint. But the thing is, it can save time, and this has been absolutely vital for me, because I'm thinking along the lines of, well, what's going to be left? I'm going to have to start playing. I'm going to have to get serious about playing instruments again, and it's been great, because I spent years, well, I've always played guitar, but then I wasn't really that convinced that shredding was the way forward till really a year and a bit into McRocklin Hutch, till I started getting up and having a bit of a jam when we're on the Dragon Force tour. And then it kind of dawned on me that actually guitars are quite cool. So I fancy getting back into this. And that's kind of what started, But then I'm in a situation of right, I've got to mix, I've got to write, I've got to produce, I've got to do, the heavy lift on a mix. Now you're playing guitar, and your guitar playing has to be up to a fairly high standard, and that takes time, I've had to, in the last 2 years now, I've invested a huge amount of time in guitar playing and writing, and and the streaming and bouncing, all these things. It's just, you've got to, you do have to dedicate your life to it a bit, but you can do it, and everybody's got time to do it. It's just, you got to be focused, haven't you? Just have a look at the chat. So AI in Fruity Loops is pretty good. Yeah, the fact that it's got it built into it, and this is the future, isn't it? Like, doors are going to have AI built into them, which again is going to save time. All right, okay, you don't intend to make money out of music. That's fine. And hi, Patricio. How you doing? Good to see you on. I don't often see you on here, but it's great having you on. Yeah, wow. That's early in the morning, late, so you need to get your sleep. But okay, it's what a great way to go to sleep than my stream. And listening to me program a load of drums. What is strange to consider, though, just the importance. Maybe I can help with some advice. These AI models, in fact, reference other people's work. There you go. If you've got something truly unique and a style and a vibe, it would be wise to never put it into a digital holes online. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, I mean, like AI would probably try and attempt to make a McRocklin and Hutch track, but I don't think it would make it exactly like the way that we would do it, and it couldn't. It could make what's been made, but it can't read my mind. This is the other thing. So the AI can't read my mind, and it can't come up with the possible futures that I'm going to come up with. And as an artist, I'm fully intending on always pushing, my envelope further and trying to come up with different things and new ways to do stuff. Oh, cool, you're on vacation. Brilliant. And then there's another thing, because there's AI for the masses, like if you'd imagine like Spotify and those platforms, just having AI making loads of dance music, loads of different genres of music, loads of like, just cheesy jazz music for dinner parties, right? I mean, that's all. That doesn't bother me, I think the value of a human being doing something that's bespoke, made for the moment, with other human beings present, is, that becomes even more valuable, doesn't it, to the people who want that. Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, Spotify makes its own music for filter content. I've heard that. Yeah, they have people making music, and I've wondered about that. Because you'll see like just really like playlists with really sort of like very boring, like say chillwave music that doesn't do a lot, and it's got like 1 million plays on it, and I'm like, well, how? Right, I could have done that in 2 seconds and posted it up. Why? And I've never heard of the artist. Like, how has that happened? And apparently, I was told that was the case. People will always find value in human art, but it has to be art. As we talked before, as soon as it becomes an algorithm of design, then it can't predict the future, but it can historically, AI will just churn whatever's gone before and do an all right job of it, and it'll get better and better and better. Memories. I just remember when you gave me the golden pick, I saw that you were online. Cheers from. It's a pleasure, and it was well deserved, that golden pick. You had on the video. You had the attitude, and that's what's required. It was the attitude and the conviction and the feel, and that really like because I remember that performance. It was cool. It was shredding, but it was punk rock. You had your top off and stuff, and it was just, I thought like this is like out of everything that I was watching, it just jumped out. Thought that's the one. Yeah, fake and boring. Hmm. But, we're aware of it, so it can make really interesting, not boring stuff, can't we? And let AI do any boring jobs that we don't want to do. Right, what do I prefer in a guitar? Right, so the ideal guitar, because it took a few to kind of get the target right. The ideal guitar for me is this. This is, what is it? It's an Osiris, isn't it? Holding it the wrong way. I'm not left-handed. So this is my favorite guitar, and it's quite simple, really. It's an ashwood body, walnut purple heart, 5-piece neck. I've got the what you might call it, richer light fretboard on this, which I love. Luminous dots, because I like to play in the dark and shred, and my fretboard's like a runway, especially if I charge it up with the lights. I've got the Kiesel logo here. That's important, and everybody knows it's a Kiesel. No headstock. I love no headstock because you're not bumping into things all the time. It's like when you got this big thing, it's just enough to knock in here. I have to be, so. And it's the balancing of the guitar is really good, so it's quite easy to work on a computer and have your guitar sitting on you, which is really so ergonomically for here and streaming. It's brilliant. It's perfect. The bolt-on neck. Active pickups. These are the McRocklin ones on the 5-way switch. You've got like this. You can pull this up and down, and that changes what that does. And a whammy bar. Oh. If it was plugged in, you'd hear that. What? It's like Spinal Tap, isn't it? Anyway, yeah. So that's my ideal go-to guitar. That's like the workhorse. Before it was the orange one, blue one's for posing, and the 7-string is for training my brain and getting it thinking outside the box. But just for general, if you went, Tim, do me a solo, and I was under pressure, then it's the black one. Yeah. I've played Strangberg, they're really good, but all the guitars are the same shape and stuff, aren't they? And I just feel, I don't know, I don't feel. There's the 7-string there. It is coming out to get played because I've actually got a project that I need it for. So 7-string, blue one's for posing, orange one. Probably play that when I can't be asked to change the strings of that. But the blue one's great. Just the thing with that, the orange one has got the modern pickups in. Not modern, classic. So I'll always prefer to go for the McRocklin ones because they're just brighter and edgier. But sometimes when I'm playing, I don't want to like have an aggressive guitar. Then I'll play it. But yes, I prefer headless. I think they are, yeah. Mind you, I'm not an expert on the history of Kiesel, but what I do know is I absolutely love their guitars and I don't play anything else. Wow, Jackson Warriors ate them. Yeah, I mean, I haven't. When we were on tour, I played at Jackson. It was very nice. This orange Jackson. I remember it. It was my favourite guitar in the shop. So yeah, it's interesting. 7 strings. It's very disorientating to play. But like if it comes to like tuning down and pitching down, I prefer to just play it on the 7 string than I do actually just using the tuner on polychrome. Eight strings, just another game. I mean, because like the string spacing completely is different. I was playing Thomas's, honestly, I could hardly get the pick between the strings. I was like, oh, like this is hard work. Well, this has been a good chat. Talking about AI and stuff, and yeah, I think like the 8 string would just totally mess with my technique going between that and 6 string. It's funny, a lot of people don't know they are Calvins. Do you find the price justified? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even though like I'm endorsed by them, I would buy their stuff. I would, 100%. Because it's like you just get great. You get things like steel frets as standard, and the wood and the build quality is absolutely exceptional. Right. So when Thomas gets round to it, there are 2 new tracks, and one of them's a collaboration with a very well-known guitarist, but it's been sitting there for ages. So the thing is, like, obviously, like he's doing polychrome at the minute, so that tends to like take priority. So we've been running on doing the live streams for a while now. 5K is a lot. Well, I mean that guitar doesn't cost 5K. Like it's like the Swamp Ash body. It's like 2.5 or something. So not like like the McRocklin signature and mine. They're not like massively expensive. They're really affordable. I mean, at the end of the day, like there's no, apart from the neck maybe, there's no real fancy wood. It's just literally this is like a tool. It happens to look really good, but it's a tool for getting like that's why I ended up with this, because I just wanted something uh that would look intimidating. No, I wanted something that was just literally doing the job with no distractions, no sort of like, oh, gotta be careful when I get it out with its nice shiny body and stuff. And I want something I can grab, I can throw about, I can just, not worry about and just enjoy playing. And that's all this is about. It's a Swamp Ash, this body. Because guitars are meant to play, and it's raw tone as well, so I don't have to like sit polishing it. I don't have to waste any time with that. I get the feather duster out and give it a wipe down. That's it. Done. I want steel fret so bad, but been playing camp right. Yeah, I just sold my Strat actually. Oh, you got a Solar and returned it. I was not impressed. I've always wondered about those guitars. The Solar stuff. They look very metal. Look at that. I'll move that out of the way. So it's like, right, nice clean space there. Now I go to sleep, man. I'm a little out of music, but will return. It was a pleasure. That's it. Pat, great to have you on here. Now, Pat, remember, if you want to ever make tons of music, I'm here for coaching. All right, the lower end. Mm-hmm. I mean, I see those guitars all the time. Ola must be making absolute fortune out of that business. But every young person will want those guitar, that guitar, those guitars. Yeah, it's funny guitars though, aren't they? Because we really obsess over the specs on them. And I was never like that. I just like, oh, just want to play it. Like now, it's like, oh, what type of, like, I didn't, I used to listen to Thomas talking about woods. I'm into woods. I was thinking, what? You're into woods and guitar, but like, it all makes a difference, doesn't it? And then look at me now with my Swamp Ash and my Richelite fretboards and walnut and Purple Heart. Thanks, Pat. Have a nice sleep. Yeah, like wood snobbery. Pickups, I wasn't bothered about pickups and stuff. When I was younger, I was. I never had money for any of it. So I had to rely on actually just playing better to compensate. Let's not forget there are other tone upgrades we can do, and it's never ending. I constantly find a better way to get a tone out of my guitar, and I tell you what, like the more like hybrid picking, the more tone awareness that I am. Like every little detail in our physical plane of a guitar contributes to a great tone. So before we do any guitar upgrades, so you got to focus in on, haven't you? Getting the correct angles on your picking, working on the correct tone on your hybrid pick. Because actually, my hybrid picking is really weird because the tone of it changes through the day, and it takes me like a little bit of time for it to settle in. It's really weird. And like if I wash my hands, like the tone goes, like, and I have to like get playing again to get it all toughened up. Like putting hand cream on, it's just like it's hard, man. All right, well, this has ended up a bit of a chill out on a Friday, which is fine, because I'm having fun. All right. Has anybody got any music mindset questions? That would be good. Or anything. Talking about tone, most of my recordings, even synth sounds distant, and they were recorded with a mic in a sock. Is there anything I can do about brightening them? All right. Is it right? Hold on a minute. Talking about tone, most of my recordings, even the synth sound distant, and like they were recorded with a mic in a sock. Is there anything I can do to brighten them? Right. Rats. Yes, there is. So, let's just take what you've said there, right? So, dull, okay, muffled, in a sock. what you've done is you've described the problem, haven't you? So, and it's a good description. And it's almost that the solution is there. What would you do to brighten them? I have to go into coach mode here. I mean, I can tell you what to do, but I don't know what resources you have. Rats. How would you brighten your sounds? What tools? You've tried EQ? What? Right, okay. What else could you do? You use Reaper. That's okay. It's all the same thing. So if we think about all the tools that we have, so it's a brightness problem. There are other ways, less reverb potentially. Can you describe? So it's dull. How else could you describe the sound how it is now? Not sure what else. Okay. Right. So when people describe something as dull, potentially amateurish, okay, dull. Yes, you can brighten it up with an EQ, but sometimes it's a lack of detail. All right. So one thing you could do, and be sparing. Okay. Now I know you're using Reaper, but there'll be some sort of saturation distortion plugin in there. So if we look at these drums here, which probably just when I want a dull sound, probably won't sound dull. I mean, one of the things is, right, okay, just start training your ear to select the right sounds, okay? But let's assume this is dull, right? But let's get something that is dull. That's too dull. I don't want something as dull as that. Alright, let's say that, right? So, step one, if it's a synth, right, why don't you just pull the frequency up or the envelope? And mess, you know, with the envelope. So that's step one. Is just go to the source, see what the parameters are, and do that. With guitars, right, one thing you can try is before pulling out any EQ, if it's a guitar problem, a distorted guitar, try changing the actual cab. So go as upstream as you can and start kind of playing with the frequencies there. So for guitars, just changing the cab to a brighter cab that'll make it poke through. It's better than just getting an EQ and brightening stuff. But we're looking at tools outside of EQ. So what I would do is you could do this, right? And I'll do this on Ableton. So just get a distortion plugin. And I'll just do a quick dirty one. We'll see how this kind of works, right? So overdrive. So I'm just stick overdrive in just before my main EQ. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a frequency. And mix it in. And now we've got some brightness. That's without. That's with. So I would say that's dull. That's brighter. So if it was drums, let's see what it does on drums, eh? So yes, I could brighten this sound, but if I just get like overdrive or saturation, not on my voice though, and I just drop it on here. There you go, that's brightened it up. Can you hear the difference there? That's without, and that's with. And you can aim, you know, if you've got like an overdrive where you can aim the frequencies, then you can fine tune it like what I did on that bass, because I didn't want that whole bass to be, you know, to be distorted. But you could do things like have saturation and distortion. Like distortion's more, to me, is just more of a heavy-handed way of doing it. But we can do both, like, so on Ableton, and I'm sure you'll have like some sort of saturation plugin that'll have basically a drive that you can just crank the sound up. Ideally, you want something that'll gain compensate as well. I know I always forget how to do this. I'll just see if I've got one. I haven't got one, so. So what we can do is we can we can add a bit of warmth with a saturator, and again that's bringing, but we've got to take away what we add. I'm using like a bit of the wet dry, so parallel helps. So that brings out the overall detail of a sound. And then if we want a bit of brightness, we can use the overdrive. But there is another way we can do things, right? I'm just going to stick a lead line as well. And just a bit of this. Quickly making a track. Bear with me. Right, okay, so we've got a bit of a track there. try saturation. Correct. Send me a track link. Yeah, so all right, this is the way that I would imagine you'll be able to do it on Reaper and any DAW. It'll translate much better, and this is what I would do. So this will be the way. This will fix the problem one way or another. So let's just get. I'm just going to create. So what you want to do is create a return track, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to build an exciter for excitement, and we'll use both. We'll use some saturation maybe. In fact, there's a yeah. So let's try some saturation. And we want an EQ. I'll just, stock EQ's fine. I'll use it. I'll use this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send some drums into this. Just realised, my drum bus isn't fully set up here, is it? That needs to go to drums. Drums goes to main. Right, and then we'll have a look at the bus. So over here on the over on this saturation here, what we're going to do is we're just going to filter it. So you'll hear my mic will switch off and you'll hear what I'm doing. So I'm just going to take all the low end off and I'm just going to leave the bit that I want saturated. Right, now have a listen. So I've set up, got saturation there, and I'm just sending however much signal I want to this saturator. So, for example, if I want the snare to be brighter, we can give it a bit edge. Let's give it a hard curve. So I'm using the real hard saturation curve there so we can really hear it. You're right, you can really hear it on the synth there. Okay, I'll switch it off. So that's without. With. Without. With. So you can see that kind of brings out the detail and wakes the sounds up a little bit. Anyway, I'll just undo that. All right. So that's how you go. So the best way, just to go through the process, saturation or distortion, whatever you fancy, just experiment. Stick that on one of your auxiliaries on a return. Make sure you get shot of the frequencies you don't want to hear in your saturator. You know, that's where I'm wanting to bring the detail out, okay? And then what you're doing is, on your returns, you're sending a proportion of your signal into that, you know? So just again, you know, if you wanted to, let's say, this hi-hat, if we wanted that brighter, so just focus on that. So it is brightening it, but it's bringing the detail out. That's what it's doing, because, like, I suppose saturation is a form of compression. It's removing transients and the sound's becoming more prominent in the mix, as well as colouring that higher frequency. Had to step out for a smoke. Way too many explosions going on to keep watching. So there you go. Hopefully that's the problem solved. Let me know how you're getting on. What I would say is, you know, you just gotta, you know, make. I think, like, at the end of the day, it's just about making good choices on samples and instruments and getting them right at source, really, before sort of going down that line. Excellent. And I mean, sometimes the sound can, you know, sound dull because it's got too much low end on it. I mean, like this. All right. Potentially, this is like, it's got like funny mids where it's, and it's just like clouding everything around it. Okay, there's like frequencies overlapping. All right. So, you know, we can just take away. So I've like high pass. So I use SSL on everything, and I've got basically high pass macro. So I can just, you can see it turning there. That's my mic. So I can easily kind of get to that. So if I go to the lead. And for some reason, whenever I press solo, it throws me over there. So I can just take away a bit of that fat. Right. So kind of removing dull frequencies helps. So not only, you know, the dullness could be to do with the mids in your mix as well, you know. And that also, you know, so sorry to go on about the coaching group, but there is an exercise that I do where I take you through a process where you can solve any problem in your music. Okay, there is an actual process that will do this, and what it allows you, what it trains you to do, is to be able to find the problem. So that's the first thing. So locating the problem on an XY axis in your mix. So obviously with you, it's happening all the time. But then what you want to do is, or where it's particularly bad, is you need to describe what's happening. So when you're describing, not only are you describing, you're kind of describing all the sounds, but describe the music first. So what is happening? Describe what the kick drum's doing, what the frequencies of the kick drum, what the frequencies of the bass, what notes they're playing, are the notes conflicting between, the bass. But for now, before we go into like actual what potentially the problem is, if you make a description of your music and all the parts that are there, so it's almost like a 3D model in your head, what you can do then is then describe, where the problem is. And what that problem is. So in you, it's like dull, okay? And then what you can do is you can go further. So you've got the description, but what about an explanation? This is the bit that's missing. What is the explanation? And creating an explanation about your music is very difficult to do. It's a bit of a trick, yeah? But now we've got the 3D model of all the frequencies, right? Are there lots of frequencies clashing in the mids? So in the explanation is the sound is dull because the string pad is clashing with is overlapping on the snare and creating like mud. Okay, so that way you've completely located the problem within a problem, and then you're just actually working on the part which is causing the problem, and not kind of, because I think like what will happen is we'll think, oh, the mids are muddy, and then we'll go in and we'll start hacking frequencies off everywhere, and then end up with a really brittle mix where the vibe's lost. So just kind of being able to locate the problem, describe the problem, and explain the problem, and then coming up with different solutions. And at very least, like if you were just, oh, well, EQ is the only way that I know how to brighten a sound, because now you know the problem, it's perfectly safe to go out and start doing a search on YouTube for other tutorials then, because you've got a very well explained problem and you're looking for solutions then. Area, right. Right, when I did the problem explanation thing. Yeah, so picking good sounds. When you're solving a problem, locate the problem on an XY axis in your music. Where is it? Describe what the music is doing, not the problem, what the music is doing at that point. Then describe why it is a problem. Then explain. Then brainstorm solutions. And that is it. And I think, guys, we're pretty much done there for today. Oh, one moment. I've just got an... Right, the missus is just heading off to work there, so I wanted to quickly catch her. But because I'd done that, she said, hoover the stairs, and then left. So yeah. I'm gonna hoover the stairs after here. But what I am going to do is I'm not going to hoover all the stairs. On an XY axis, I'm going to locate exactly where the problem is, where the dirt is, and only hoover that area. After I've done a brainstorming on how I'm going to do it and what I'm going to use, whether it's going to be the dustpan and brush, or am I going to like maybe just apply a little bit of moisture, or am I going to hoover it You can apply this to everything in life. God, right. Anyway, it's Friday, isn't it? So it's been a great stream this actually. I've really enjoyed the talking and all that kind of stuff, and I've nearly completed doing the drum thing with no. So actually, I've nearly got a track there, which was good. And it's funny how music can just come out of you, isn't it? I mean, it's interesting because I'm focused on just making something so I can like problem solve it. But then because I'm not under any pressure about coming up with an idea just happens. It's all right. So it's so mysterious, the creative process. And as much as I try to understand it, I realise that I don't understand it at all. So we've got a few minutes. Has there been any more questions? That was a good question. It was a technical one, but I brought it back into coaching with the process of locate, describe, explain, brainstorm. Any more? So anyway, this shameless plug-in that I do every session because I need to find 3 coaching clients. I still haven't found them for my main coaching group, which is $237 a month. You get 2 hours of my time every week, getting you to make absolutely tons of music. You come on a live, I'll give you an exercise, I'll time it, and you have to do it like your life depends on it. Does it? Looks like Ukraine here at night. Oh. Anyway, so $237, 2 hours a week. We meet up and you'll get to learn to make absolutely massive amounts of music. You will learn the process that is absolutely amazing that I use, which is the machine. And you get, it basically is creativity modularized. Oh, the 4th of July. Oh, right, yes, Mac. Send the email because I know you're interested in one-to-one. So I'll just give you my email because, and then have a one-to-one and see how it goes. And then there's always the group thing. Oh, you got it right. So anyway, yeah, I mean, like one of the interesting things is, so if you're not wanting to make money out of your music and stuff like that, it doesn't have to be like that, at all. Like sometimes, people will come to me and learning the creative process, like what you actually learn in my sessions, I apply to every part of my life, and it's hugely, hugely beneficial. Like music, creativity is such a great teacher. In fact, the definition of creativity is it's a way of operation. In other words, creativity, by definition, is problem solving. That's all it is. Just we apply it to music, and because it's got the word creativity attached to it, some people say, "Oh, I'm not a creative person," but you are. If you're an electrician coming to fix my lights, right, and you hadn't seen the problem before, and you had to start like developing something to do that because there was uncertainty, you would be being just as creative as I am now. Business people, super creative. Setting this channel up was a different but the same creative muscle. Absolutely, to do, and part of my work in life is doing that, because the process that you get out of it, the fact, so there's the whole side of, doing this kind of thing, live streaming, finishing, writing music, going through that whole creative process. So you learn to problem solve, but then on another level, right, music is a metaphor. And this is the most fascinating thing. Music is a metaphor for how we're feeling. And at the end of the day, we can channel all kinds of emotions from our past history, dark and happy, okay? And nobody knows what really it is that we're saying in a literal sense, but they get the vibe and they get the emotion, and they can get something really positive and resonate with that. which is very, very exciting, you know. Often I'll use my story in my music. As a ghostwriter, brilliant. So music is a metaphor and the creative process. Sounds good. It's a book. I'll write it. No, it's that, like, you don't have. This is just where I ended up. You know, it was just I just ended up here because that's where I ended up here, because I'd been through so many processes and it was the right thing to do. So there's no live thing. You know, when I started getting coached back in 2014, you know, I was having to find my style and everything, and all I did for my 122 releases, there's more than that, but anyway, you know, what I essentially, all I was doing was sitting in my bedroom producing music. I was quite happy doing that. Actually, it wasn't my bedroom, it was a living room, and I was really happy doing that, and I could have just done that, to be honest, and not even release music. But then I was releasing music as well, and it was just great. It was like a different vibe. It was like playing a computer game. So I'd finish music, send it to publishers, send it to labels, and you'd get a deal, and then it'd go up, and then I'd see it up online. Didn't really talk to anybody, you know, didn't really, but it was just a great feeling. And I remember one of the most profound feelings that I had when I got that whole system of just being able to make music and finish music, whether I liked it or not, I felt like the person I wanted to feel like the person I wanted to be. And then suddenly one day I woke up and I went, you know, I'm an artist, I'm a producer, I'm in the game. And just that feeling, it just changed my outlook on life, really. I became a nicer, not that I was horrible, nicer, more positive, less frustrated person. And, you know, I have time for everybody. I wasn't a frustrated artist because I'd kind of proved to myself that I can be that. And if there's one thing, you know, that we can do, is I would suggest to everybody, if you're sitting there thinking that you can do it, just do it, you know. And if it's too much and too hard, but you still want to do it and you're getting frustrated about that, get a coach. And of course, I'm always here, and that's what I specialize in, because I want people to be and do what they want to do, and we all need help with that. I needed lots of help back in, despite writing tons of music, you know, I was stuck. I mean, my head was fried. I mean, I couldn't decide on what kick drum to use, you know, and I just always do sessions and end up in a heap on the floor and then spend 3 months trying to finish something and hating it. It was an awful situation to be in, till I got coached. And I let go of everything, and my life changed, you know. I'm socially awkward and introvert. Just thinking about making music for other people just gives me an anxiety. Right, okay, so this is great that you've said that. You wouldn't be making music for anybody else. You're only making music for yourself. And that is very important. Never, ever, ever make music for anybody else. It's just not, like, you don't do that, right? We're all individuals. It's much more interesting, right, if we make music, right, that's to do with what we, you know, that, and it's not like we're making music that represents us. We're just making music because that's what we're making at the time. I have this game that I'll play with people called the Design to Discovery game, and a lot of the time we take a design mentality. Now, Josh Klein, what you're saying there is, you know, I'm just thinking about making music for other people. That is design. We don't want to do that. AI can do that, right? AI is going to make music for like other people. That's its job, right? What we're doing is we're making music for ourselves that is a snapshot of who we are at that particular point in time of our lives. It doesn't mean that that's going to be the only thing that we're going to produce. What we're trying to do as artists with an uncertain future in our creative journey is we're just making music for ourselves at the time, expressing how we are responding to the world and our environment around us. Artists evolve, as Marcus pointed out there, and our journey is, and I'll add to that actually our journey is one of mastery. We will never, ever, ever get to the end of it. You know, it's like the horizon. Sometimes, like with my guitar playing, I get a little bit, like, you know, sometimes I get close to the horizon of where I want to be, and then when I get anywhere near it, I realise I'm absolutely miles away, and that's what's fascinating. There's more to be done. There's more to be improved. There's more enjoyable work to be done. I realise that, like, I don't even understand myself, and there's more to explore there. So, you know, we never make music for anybody else because it's design. We need that uncertain future. We don't know what's happening. And that is where all of the interesting stuff happens. Designing and making music for other people, it's all conscious thinking. This person likes this thing, so I'll do X. Right? It's conscious thinking, it's boring. What we need to do is, when we really challenge ourselves, is we get into the real resource of who we are, into the subconscious. And then we start making music that is almost, it's like, where did it come from? This is what I get. When I'm deeply in flow and I'm making music, I love it when I listen back to that music a few days later, and I hear it and I think, I don't even recognize myself there. And that is what makes it exciting and wonderful. It's almost like I didn't make the music, it came from somewhere else. And that's because we're diving into the subconscious. And this is another thing that, you know, I get people doing is, I was in a flow group for 6 months researching this, and being in flow, and even though you're making music on a computer, it can still be like a performance thing, and we can be in a zone where time dilates, where there's no past and there's no future. Okay? We're just purely in that moment. And think about this. We're not analytically thinking about problems. And we're not really listening to the editor. Okay? At that point, there's only us and the music. And at that point, that's who I really am. So there we go. I hope that makes sense. But you've just woke me up there, Josh. So never, ever, ever, ever be worried about making music for other people, because you're not making music for other people. You're making music for yourself. And whether you put it out there is up to you. What I will say, though, is what I find is when I make music, I realise that music doesn't belong to me. And I have to give it to the world. It's my duty. Because it could change somebody's day. It could make somebody else, like your struggles and problems could resonate with somebody else. And they think, oh, well, that's brilliant. I'm glad I heard that. And they can have a better day. So sometimes, you know, and that's part of the reason I'm here on this stream, is because I can make other people's days a bit better. I can help people. We can make the world a better place. We can beat AI. We can beat the machines. So there we go. And I think on that note, I'm going to have to go and get on with my day, because I'm getting a phone call here. All right, guys. So have a good one. Think about that. If you're interested in coaching, give me a shout. I've also got a Discord as well. So join the Discord. There's a coaching group. Everybody's in the general chat. Nobody's like talking to me in the coaching group. If you can get into the coaching thing, ask questions, stuff like that, you never know. I'll either answer the questions in the forum, or badly because I have terrible dyslexia, or I'll take it onto a stream and it can be a wonderful question we can share with everybody else. All right, guys. I'll be back on potentially Saturday night shredding, if not Monday morning. All right, take care. Bye.